Proverbs 24 calls us to rescue the innocent. That is a call that goes out to all of God's people in all cultures, in all places, in all time. But it doesn't exactly answer for us in that passage how God expects us to rescue the innocent. Over the last couple of weeks, we have been doing a series on examples of people who have obeyed God's call to rescue the innocent. How have they done it? How have they done it? We answered the first week, we looked back at biblical examples of rescue. And the week after that, last week, we looked at historical and missiological examples of the way that people have implemented this or answered this call to rescue. Today, we're going to answer it this way. How are people answering the call to rescue the innocent around the world today? Are there what kind of examples can we find of people who are out there today working with what they have, being creative, taking initiative to find ways to obey the call to rescue the innocent? The most common, by far, is with the implementation of pregnancy help centers or pregnancy help ministries. Some places they prefer to call them pregnancy help teams. There have been over 6,000 of these pregnancy help centers or pregnancy help ministries that have been established throughout the world over the last 50 years. It's really an astounding pro-life movement that God has initiated through his church. Many of them are doing it in remote places, in difficult circumstances, with very little funding coming in from any source, especially the local sources. You're looking at a picture right now on your screen of pictures from Zambia, where a young couple, this was just many years ago, started working with what they had. And they didn't have much, but they opened up a pregnancy help center there in Zambia that remains to this day a very active place for babies and mothers and families to be rescued from the appall of abortion. In Cuba, we found the highest rate of abortion in the world. No other country at the time that we started going to Cuba in 2016 had a higher abortion rate than did Cuba. We have indication that may have slipped a little bit now. To the glory of God, they may be number 2 in the world or number 3 in the world. That would be a great thing. And we'd like to see them continue sliding on down the list of high abortion rates. But when we got there, we first found people who were interested in learning how to recover and repair their lives, because these were people who had experienced and were responsible for abortions in their own past. So the first thing that we implemented in Cuba was a series of classes for abortion recovery, emotional recovery, what we call biblical peace with God, going back and doing self-reflection and prayer and exercises to help us understand the biblical concept of what it means to be restored, even in the face of grave sin and error. Those who joined together to do these abortion recovery classes were the first to organize as pregnancy rescuers in their culture. So in Cuba, they then started going out, setting up pregnancy help centers or pregnancy help ministries. At first, it was just in public places or going door to door or living room to living room. Really an amazing story. We were able, as you're able to see here, bring them a handheld ultrasound machine where they could go in the privacy of someone's home and offer a very simple pregnancy check, and then do an ultrasound on that pregnant girl and let her see her baby right there in the privacy of her own living room. That was a wonderful thing. Some now have become brick and mortar pregnancy help centers, if you will, where they are gathering money together to be able to provide resources, classes, clothing, formula, diapers, practical help for girls who come into their center looking for help with their crisis pregnancies. And they are making disciples. They're going out around Cuba now, and they are multiplying their efforts by teaching other church communities how they can do the exact same thing and find the exact same pleasures and fruits in ministry that they have been able to find. One of the things that really has taken off in recent years in the country of Vietnam, for example, is apologetics training, so that people are able to understand the basic ideas of making a case for life using science and logic and reasoning to show that you don't necessarily have to have a spiritual reason to be a human being that stands for the protection of other human beings. And they are teaching people how to combat the hard questions, how to uncover the red herrings, how to recognize the fallacies in people's logic as they are making a case for abortion in that culture. That can happen in any culture. Apologetics training is something that you might be able to find in the comfort of your own home just by doing research, both on the Passion Life website and on YouTube and the various channels where you can learn from good pro-life apologists. One of the things we're seeing in India is that they have started a rapid and multiplying strategic reteaching of what we call the 4 questions. That's our core theological training document. They're training the 4 questions in churches so that churches can call their people to be willing to say something when it matters most, when life is on the line, when a neighbor or a coworker or a family member is considering abortion. And these are Christians who are learning to say, I am not any longer going to keep silent. I'm going to open my mouth. They are rallying the pro-life leaders who used to be disconnected in various parts of India and bringing them together into conferences. I'll be on my way to India just here in a number of weeks to keynote one of those conferences where other people are coming in from various parts of India to hear pro-life presentations and learn from one another. In the country of Colombia, there are a lot of different pregnancy help ministries that are going on, but one of them is that there is this local pregnancy help team who has decided to open a safe home for girls who just don't have anywhere to go. They need to get off the streets. They need a job. They're being threatened by boyfriends or by husbands or by fathers because they're pregnant and they need somewhere to live. And so another way that Christians around the world are rescuing the innocent is by providing homes, safe homes for pregnant girls. And of course, all of our work in Passion Life started in China. And China has begun to open beyond belief. I mean, it really beggars belief. China has been able to open pregnancy counseling centers inside the abortion facilities of government-run hospitals using a local NGO. They go in and they work with the doctors there and the officials and the abortion doctors and the OBGYNs to help them separate out those who come in looking for an abortion versus those who come in just not understanding how they can get by on their circumstances and need some help figuring things out. And we've got pictures here on your screen of parties at the hospital where we bring the girls back to the hospital and they report on how thankful they are that that hospital helped them figure out a way to choose life in the face of difficult circumstances. In fact, the video that you're seeing now is a video of a young couple that both, the man and the woman, both had cerebral palsy. And they met each other, they fell in love, soon there was a baby on the way. No one would support their pregnancy. Everyone was telling them that they had to abort. They wouldn't be able to take care of this child. The child might be sick too. They couldn't be a good mother. They couldn't be a good father. And as you can see, the Christians working with this young girl have taught her to be a very good mother, being able to change diapers and change clothes with her feet because her hands are so gnarled from cerebral palsy that she doesn't have the ability to use them properly. So this is just another encouraging example from around the world. I could go on and on and on with lists of examples of how Passion Life affiliates and friends are doing these kinds of pro-life works around the world. I'm going to be on my way to Africa. John just got back from Africa, from Zambia, where he was a speaker at a conference where they are now gathering together pro-life leaders from not just all over Zambia, but they are the first place that we know of in all of the world that has a continent-wide vision for affiliating pregnancy help works and pregnancy help personnel to be able to come together under AFLA, the Association for Life of Africa, to learn how to resource one another better and stand for life better in that culture. And they are going from country to country to country, teaching people how to do good pregnancy help work and obey, as we say, the biblical call from Proverbs 24 to rescue the innocent. How are you going to follow one or any more of these examples, or come up with a creative way on your own to obey that call in your own life? That's the question that Passion Life would leave you with a challenge for. How is God asking you to come deeper into the pregnancy help ministry and answer that call to rescue?